Amazing things can happen when a neighborhood discovers that it has a voice, takes action, and works to preserve itself as a wonderful place to live. This is exactly what is happening in Muncie's Anthony-Northside neighborhood because of the actions of our association. By getting actively involved, our association members are helping to preserve our rich history and better our neighborhoods. For many years, Anna was a quiet and sleepy association not doing much. We revitalized a few years ago and have been on the move since. Thanks to our board members, we have become a leading association for activity in the city. By far our biggest project began in 2019 with the fight to preserve the historic pillars on Wheeling Avenue as part of the road widening project. When I, our association president, learned that the stone pillars would be removed, I went to work. After hours and hours of research, I discovered that these pillars have historical significance. They were once part of a property owned by the internationally famous Diamond Heels Hattie, a member of the Anthony family of which our neighborhood is named. The history and story is rich of the land that was sold to expand Muncie's borders and become our neighborhood. I reached out to anyone and everyone I could think of that had some connection to the road widening project to preserve the pillars. At one point, our board decided if we had to, we would remove the pillars piece by piece ourselves in order to preserve them. We gained press attention, and our newly elected mayor, Dan Ridenour, and Councilman Jeff Robinson became involved in the process. I could go on and on and on and on because there is so much to the story. The pillars have been carefully removed and are currently in storage. We are hoping and waiting to see if there are indeed funds to be able to put the pillars back this coming spring as stated by project leaders. What we do know is that our association has done everything we could to preserve this artifact of our history. Our board also used 2019 as an opportunity to bring the neighborhood together and promote our association. We decided to plan and throw a neighborhood block party. With funding assistance from a MAP grant and a partnership with Ball State, which provided some activities, and volunteers from Rising Hope and Community Foursquare Church, two churches in our neighborhood, and Officer Mueller, who provided security for our event. Munciana hosted our first ever neighborhood block party in June 2019. It was small, but successful. We knew after the event that we wanted to plan another block party in the future, thinking about how we could bring more neighborhood residents to the party and in what ways we wanted to grow and expand. Munciana was clearly on the move, but pandemics have a way of changing things. Even though the world shut down and Anna was stopped in our tracks, canceling meetings in March and May, we decided the pandemic would not stop our efforts of making our little piece of Muncie a better place. Through many emails and some innovation, we began having our bi-monthly meetings again, meeting virtually and posting our contact information for meeting links on our webpage. Munciana was ready to roll with the punches. We connected with members and families in the neighborhood by offering our window bear hunt. People could put stuffed animals in their windows for children in the neighborhood to find while on family walks, making time of staying home and being socially distant a little more bearable. Even though March 2020 was a difficult month for all, board member Lucas Pint saw a need for proper drainage to prevent flooding near the southeastern section of the neighborhood. He reported the problem in March and worked with Muncie Sanitation, City Engineer, and Delaware County Commissioner Sherry Riggin to resolve the flooding issue near the intersection of New York Avenue and Weber Drive. A new street drain was approved and installed by October 2020. In summer 2020, the Neighborhood Leadership Council announced that each neighborhood could submit a list of up to 10 properties in its neighborhood that it would like to see demolished. Neighborhoods were promised that at least a few of them would be addressed unless they were already in the middle of some other legal process. Two members of the Anthony-Northside Neighborhood Association grabbed their bicycles and went on a tour. Several blighted properties were already known, but the streets were canvassed with one person taking photos and the other noting down addresses. Added to the addresses and photos was anything that was known about the property, such as how long it had been abandoned or when previous rehab attempts had stopped. Then the list was prioritized, numbered 1 through 10, and submitted. In short order, we found demo orders from the building commissioner on 6 of our properties. In one case, the owners claimed to be rehabbing the property but were treating it more as a hobby, so they'd accomplished little in 18 months. The demo order caused them to significantly speed up their work. Thanks to board members Lucas Pint and Susan Weiland for their efforts to beautify our neighborhood while helping to preserve our family-friendly feel in Munciana. In August, Anna began work again by standing up to a local apartment complex that violated a building and zoning agreement by opening a secondary emergency-use-only gate into one of our residential areas and causing an increase in traffic. I again started making calls to local officials in the fire department and the plan commission. I looked up past agreements and stipulations from planning and zoning meetings years ago. Members of the neighborhood began monitoring traffic in the area, including possible traffic violations. In November, board members, along with our city councilmen and other local leaders, spoke at the area planning and zoning meeting to dispute the variance the complex applied for to allow the gate to stay open. Based on our efforts and the precedent previously set, the Planning and Zoning Commission ruled for the gate to be closed. We would like to give a special thanks to Jeff Robinson, Brad Polk, and Jerry Dishman. Finally, as we wrapped up 2020, we learned that we could apply for another MAP grant and use the funds to assist an organization such as a school. Board member Lucas Pint suggested partnering with our local school, so we as a board decided to reach out to Westview Elementary. Although Westview is not physically in the Anthony-Northside neighborhood, it is our neighborhood's elementary school. After much discussion with the school principal, Lucas brought to the board the idea of a financial partnership on a community garden at Westview. Our ANA board unanimously agreed that this would be a way to financially help our community and school. It is an exciting venture that we hope will come to fruition, as it will help provide for Westview families and can be an educational experience for Westview students, giving teaching opportunities in science and social studies, as well as an occasion for allowing students to learn to give back to their local communities. Munciana is helping to further the cause of civic engagement. So this is the story of how some ordinary citizens decided to become involved in our local community and ended up making some major impacts to preserve and better our fair city of Muncie. The Munciana story is not finished. There are more chapters to write and more changes to make, more growth, more beautification, and more involvement. But the story of Munciana is not unique. Similar stories can be written for any neighborhood and any neighborhood association in Muncie. It just takes some initiative and involvement from more ordinary citizens who realize it is time to take action and get involved. In closing, we would like to thank all the businesses and organizations that have partnered or supported Munciana to help us become successful. Thank you. Thank you.